Good morning. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I just yelled at you. My name's Jamison Bale. Like Miss Champion said, I graduated in 2022. I'm currently a senior at Young Harris College. I will graduate. What's happening? Okay. In May of 2026 with a degree in elementary education, and I will also minor in psychology.
Hi everyone, my name is Courtney Bishop. I also graduated in 2022. I went to college and graduated May of 2024 as an advanced EMT, which is the level just below paramedic, and I got a job, and I'm also now a firefighter.
My name is Will Hall. I graduated in 2023. I'm pursuing a bachelor's in electrical engineering at Kennesaw State University and plan to graduate in 2027. I want to focus on heading into the manufacturing sector.
Hi, my name is Connor Tippins. I'm a 2025 graduate, and I got done with my first semester at Chat Tech in December, and I'm enlisted in the military.
My name is Noah Thrasher. I graduated last year in 2025. I just graduated from Chat Tech with a welding degree last December, and right now I'm interviewing for my career.
My name is Evan Gibson. I graduated in 2025. I am pursuing a degree in mechanical engineering focused on automotive, and I hope to join an aerospace startup.
Hey guys, my name is Grayson Leddington. I also graduated in 2025. I'm studying English right now at the University of North Georgia, and I'm planning to go into college education.
My name's Shayla Buchanan. I graduated in 2024. I go to KSU and I'm an elementary education major.
I'm Addison Lewis. I graduated last year in 2025. I go to Berry College. I'm an animal science major and I minor in chemistry, and I hope to go to vet school.
Hi, my name is Ada Keener. I graduated last year in 2025. I currently go to school at the University of North Georgia. I am planning to transfer to UGA next semester, and I'm studying marketing.
Hi, my name is Sydney Wolf. I graduated last year, and I attend Messiah University in PA. I play volleyball there, and I'm a music and worship major.
Hello, I'm Emma Christensen. I graduated in 2025, and I'm currently in my first year at Brown University studying psychology, and I plan on going to med school.
Hi, I'm Farrah Jones. I graduated in 2025, and I am a political science major in my first year at UGA.
Awesome. Thank y'all so much. So, yeah, y'all can clap.
Connor, I think you're starting it.
We're very fortunate that, one, they're all here with us, because as you can tell, they are all over the place. Some of them are even out of state. So we were able to get them in here. They're either missing work or we were able to get them in here before they go back to school next week. So we're very grateful that each of you are here. You were chosen because I trust your voice and your hearts, and you continue to make PHS proud and Pickens County proud. So just know you're always welcome here, and your voice will always be important to us. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask a few questions, because I asked all of them to think of 1 to 3 things that they've learned since they graduated that could benefit all of you, whether it's regarding life or college or career, or being a senior, things they don't want you to miss out on. And they all provided me such meaningful and insightful input. So we kind of formed some questions to help make this flow, in case we don't miss any of the incredible stuff they've got to tell you. But if you have questions, if we have time at the end, that's when I want you to raise your hand, and we'll do a time for you to ask questions, okay? Sound good? All right. So we'll start with number 1. For those interested in enlisting in the military, what are the steps to take? Is it what you thought it would be like? Has your original plans of what you wanted to do in the military remained the same, or have they changed? So Connor, that is all you.
Thank you, Ms. Champion.
You're welcome.
So I began my process of enlisting before I graduated. Started in May flew out to Colorado to see my dad for the summer, came back and made arrangements with my recruiter to get my contracting done. It's a multi-step process. It's not something that you just like press a button and in a week it's done over with. It's the process of contracting is about 2-3 weeks, and with the National Guard, you immediately start drilling every month, and you get paid for it. As with active duty, you can contract, but you're not going to drill every month and get paid for it, and you're not doing anything until you get shipped out. With RSP, there's a lot of discipline, a lot of it, because that's what most of the military is based around. If you're good with that, be fine. Outside of it, most of it, the hardest part is the activity. A lot of military workouts, you'll be pushed a lot harder than you think you will, especially if you're not active on a daily basis already. And even if you do work out currently, it's a different type of animal. It's a lot of cardio. It's a lot of they had us doing stuff I've never even heard of. But after that, eating is a mix of catering and MREs. And MREs, if you have heard about MREs, you probably heard they're all bad and they don't taste good and whatnot. They're really not as bad as what you think.
Some people may not know what that stands for. There's a lot of abbreviations in the military. Can you tell them what MREs are?
So MREs are military packages that are basically heavily condensed for storage capacity, and they're filled with necessities for refueling you before and after a workout and activity, general activity. It'll have something for protein, it'll have something for carbohydrates, it'll have a drink in it. Sometimes you'll even get some sweet like M&Ms or something like that. We have a little thing, we trade them around like Pokemon cards. It's really fun. Yeah, so it's a mix of that and catering. The food's generally really good. And one of the other things too is when you enlist in the National Guard and you start drilling, you're actually being instructed by military sergeants. It's not just like you have some adults that have some military experience and then just aren't actually in the military. No, all of them are in the military. They know what they're doing. They know what they're teaching you. It's all instructed by people that are actually currently in the military. So discipline, activity. Drills for us are once a month. We usually go in Friday, stay the night, and then leave Saturday afternoon. There's a lot of cleaning involved. If you're really OCD with cleaning, you'll love it. You'll also get incredibly aggravated by people repeatedly stepping everywhere and going everywhere that you literally just cleaned, then you have to clean it again, and probably clean it 2 or 3 more times after that. But it's part of the process, and at the end of the day, it's got to be done. So, and that's a generally really good way to look at the military. After you enlist, everything that you're told to do or instructed to do, there's no point in dreading it. There's no point in hating it, because it's got to be done. It's either that or it just doesn't work out for you.
Connor, can I ask you a question really quick?
Yes, ma'am.
So when you enlisted in the military, it's not like we just signing up because you're gonna go get trained and ready to fight whenever there's a fight. Like,
Yeah.
You actually have, there are jobs within the military, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You got a certificate in welding. Are you gonna utilize that certificate, and what job are you going to be assigned to? And is, sorry, these are 3 questions, is it the same job you thought it would be when you originally enlisted? Or has it changed?
So I'm not doing anything in the military specific to welding, which is what I went to college for. But there were 2 things that I originally wanted to go to college for, which were welding and car mechanic. But my job in the military, it's leaning more towards the mechanic side. There's a lot of opportunities in the military, in the Army specifically, with variety in terms of, like, if you want to do something, car mechanic, you can do that. If you want to do something on the technical side, there's jobs for that. If you do want to be on the front lines, there's tons more for that. There's if you can think of it, there's probably a job for it. Is there anything else that you wanted to?
No, it sounds like to me, if you're interested in going into the military, be in contact with a recruiter, they'll help guide you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You've been really excellent about that. And make sure you're in shape.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you, Connor.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're going to move on to number 2. Are you already in your desired career field? How did you make a final decision on going into that field, and what certificates or trainings did you have to, go after in order to do that? So I really think this is going to be mostly Noah and Courtney. So if y'all don't mind kind of in the microphone.
Doesn't matter. Okay. So I'm already a advanced EMT and a firefighter. I'd say that the biggest thing that helped me was work-based learning. I did work-based learning my senior year here at the high school, and that actually helped me get into a kind of like internship with the Pickens County Fire and Rescue. And that's where I got to do a lot of ride-alongs, and that kind of made me realize, hey, this is for me. Because I had already been doing the healthcare pathway throughout high school, and I had done that as well. So I knew I wanted to go into some form of the medical field, but I hadn't really known exactly what I wanted to do. But once I did that work-based learning, and like 3 weeks into that, I was pretty dead set on doing pretty much anything EMS related. And then part of that was most departments that have EMS for like county, usually you're also going to have to do fire side of stuff. But with that, after work-based learning, I was offered a job. I was told I needed to get at least my advanced EMT. To do that, I went through Chat Tech at North Metro, because it was before the Appalachian campus had the EMS program here. I went through my basic and then went to my advanced EMT. After you get your basic, which is your bare minimum that you have to get for EMS, you can either choose to go to advanced EMT or you can go to the paramedic program, either or. It kind of just depends on what you want to do. I went with the advanced EMT because I wanted to get a little bit more of a foundation before I did paramedic, so we will see about that. And then once I got my advanced EMT, I came back, got the job that I was offered, and part of the contract was I had to get my firefighter certifications within a year. Did that within about 6 to 8 months of my first year, and here I am. Still have a bunch of other certifications because I'm also hazmat certified and hazmat operations and awareness certified. 2 different certifications for that, as well as my firefighter one. But it's a pretty crazy thing. And there's still a bunch of other certifications that you can go through, like a lot of other more specific certifications, like for firefighter. You can go, I know the next one is firefighter 2, but you can even go into instructors. You can get more like tech certifications where like you can become a rope tech, which is like part of like the rescue and extrication, which is where you get to do all like the fun stuff of like, mountain rescue, car rescues, down the side of a mountain. It's pretty crazy. You can even go into like large animal rescue. I know that there was one not too long ago that we had, and it's pretty crazy all the things that you can do. And you can even be like fire marshal and kind of work your way up that way if that's what you want to do. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. I'm going to hand it over to Noah.
Well, actually, Courtney, I wanted to ask you something really quick.
Oh, all right.
So, and a lot of you are going to realize this in when you're in college, you think, I'm going to go to school and be a teacher, I'm going to get a degree in education. Yeah, well, just because you get a degree doesn't mean you get to go teach, you have to go take a case. Or even in college when you're taking classes, it's like, I can't take this class, so I've taken these 2 classes. So it sounds like, even with what you're going through, there's one more loophole that you've got to go through. So can you give a word of advice of when you found out, here's one more thing I've got to do?
Yeah.
What did you do to encourage yourself to keep on pursuing, to not give up on that?
So a very big thing that kind of kept me going was the fact that I already had a job offer. That was a huge thing because I was like, okay, I have a goal that I already need to get to. And not to mention, there was a lot of people that I met during my time in college, my professors as well as classmates that I still talk to this day. We helped motivate each other and push each other because even though it's considered, like the basic class or like the advanced EMT, it's still a lot that goes into it. A lot of training, a lot of like physical scenarios and stuff, because you're still learning all of these skills that you have to do as a medical professional. And you can get as close as you can in a school setting, but it's not exactly going to be the same. Even on clinicals that you have to do during that school time, it's still not going to be the exact same as it would be in the field, but you try to get as close as you can. So my best piece of advice is have a goal set and do something that you enjoy and surround yourself with a lot of people that can pretty much help motivate you, and you push each other and you support each other to be the best version of you that you can be. I know it sounds cliche, but it's honestly the truth, because I did not even think, a lot of people, including myself, did not think that I was going to make it through firefighter recruit school, because I'm a relatively small person and everything, and they see small people in this field, especially females, and they're like, hey, are you sure you can do this? Well, thankfully I had a lot of amazing people who wanted to help me prove all those people wrong and pushed me to pretty much work out a lot, so much working out, so much cardio. And to this day, there are people that come up to me and tell me, wow, I'm surprised you were even able to pass. Because I even kind of surprised myself in that regard, because it's a lot physically and mentally, especially mentally, especially like in any field, but especially in any sort of like first responder field. The biggest thing is knowing that your mind's going to try and give up before your body does. So pretty much trying to get that mental resilience is a huge thing, and it takes time. It's not going to be perfect every single time. You're still going to have times where, you're not going to have the best mental resilience. That's just, we're human, in all honesty. But surrounding yourself with awesome people that do support you and kind of tell you how it is in the nicest way possible, it's a huge help, and that's probably like some of the best advice I can give, especially like work environment wise. So, yeah.
All right, Mr. Thrasher, tell us about what you've been doing since you graduated and maybe what you interviewed for yesterday.
Okay. Well, whenever in my junior and senior year of high school, I went straight into dual enrollment and work-based learning. So I spent most of my time at Chat Tech. I did a lot of core classes for an associate's degree in applied technical science, and then my senior year I went into my welding diploma. That made it to where I could graduate just last December instead of having a whole another year of school. So once I graduated, I went straight and started applying for jobs, got my resume together, made it look pretty, and have had a couple interviews since then. I think, well, what really made me want to do welding was I just found it pretty interesting. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun doing it. And it's a career to me that seems like I'm not going to hate it. I'm not really much in it for the money. I'm just in it for like the fun of a job. So the company that I'm interviewing with right now, I had an interview yesterday. It's company called General Dynamics. It's based out of Connecticut. And what they do is they get contracts from the U.S. Navy to build naval vessels and submarines. And yesterday I had an interview with them, which I definitely wasn't prepared for. And it did end up going well. The next step in it is for me to get flown up to Connecticut to take a weld test. And then after that, I get a job offer. And if I accept that, I have to move up to Connecticut for a year or two. But I don't know. I think I really just chose welding because, well, what got me into it was my cousin and my uncle. They're welders, so I went and spent time with them in their shop and got to see how it was, and I really enjoyed it. And Mr. Bell helped me out a lot with it, kind of pushed me towards it. So, but that's pretty much what I've been up to. Just a whole lot of work in school.
Well, I can't wait to hear when you get that job.
Yeah.
I mean that.
Yeah.
You got this. Okay, so we talked about military and workforce because obviously, as you all very well know, the vision of the Pickens County School District is graduation and life preparation for all. Well, our superintendent, Dr. Thomas, has also charged all of you with not only graduate, but we want you to be enrolled, enlisted, or employed. And so we wanted to have all of that representation up here. So now we're going to move into the other part of the Triple E, which is enroll. So raise your hand if you're interested in going to some form of a post-secondary school after you graduate in May. Okay, so we are going to spend a good bit of time not answering, but them giving y'all some insight on some personal, emotional things that you go through after you graduate when you go off and you move on your own and attend college. But also some technical things like talking to advisors, what your course plan of study is. Does anybody know what a course plan of study is? Yeah, so you can go on your college's website, and if you already know what you want to major in, they have a course plan of study that lists all the classes you need to take to earn your degree. So stuff like that is what we're going to talk about, okay? So freshman year of college is such an awakening experience, right? There's a lot that you learn. What piece of advice do you have for those interested in going to college that you feel would help them during their freshman year? And we've kind of broken this down into a few things. The one thing that all of them agreed on is time management. Okay? You got to be able to better manage your time. So I think Miss Addison and Miss Sydney, let's pass the microphone down to y'all and hear what y'all have to say about that.
Yeah, so I definitely learned time management is huge. I feel like in high school, teachers kind of stay on you and remind you like when stuff is due, and they really just stay on you about that. But in college, I have a different class Monday and Tuesday. So I have Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule, and I have Tuesday, Thursday schedule. So being able to stay on top of all the schoolwork from the different days is key. So I learned truly how big time management was. I don't think I cared too much about it in high school because I was always just kind of nonchalant about it because they always reminded me, all the teachers did. So I feel like now just being able to, like I write out all my stuff, so I feel like that definitely helps with time management and figuring out when all your stuff is due and then what order to do your assignments in definitely helps max out your time.
What did you look at to tell you all the things that you have to do and when it's due?
I put stuff on my phone. I use I use alarms on my phone, and I use calendars. So that helps me kind of map out when everything is due, and it gives me reminders of when to do it because I don't have a ton of downtime because I work also on top of going to class every day. So
did your professors give you something at the beginning of the semester that you had to follow that's like a syllabus?
They gave us a syllabus, but it doesn't, some classes had stuff like on when it's due, but most of the time it's on you to look ahead and figure out when stuff is due because they won't remind you. So I think it's definitely making sure you're looking ahead and giving yourself enough time because there's a lot of essays and they won't tell you when they're due most of the time. So just being able to give myself enough time for it in advance while also knowing when everything else is due is pretty crucial.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, school time management is definitely very important. I wanted to talk a little bit more about everything else. I'm a student athlete and a music major, so there's a lot of extra things that come with that. There's concerts, performances, rehearsals, practices, games, lifts, all that kind of stuff. And so just being able to balance your time between all of the things you want to do is going to be really difficult. You're going to have a bunch of student activities across campus. There's going to be things to do every night, all the time. I would just encourage you to not put more on your plate than you can handle, because you're going to want to do a lot of things. You're going to want to meet people, and all that's great, but you are going to get burnt out and exhausted if you try and do everything. So on top of balancing your time with schoolwork and assignments and homework, make sure you're giving yourself a break and doing things you love, but make sure you're not doing too much, because then you will get really tired really fast. And take naps. Naps are important.
Sydney, like you said, you play sports and you are actually one of our graduates up here that is out of state. You're not in your home state. You're a good drive away. What has been one of the most difficult things about, uprooting and trying to, make a new home for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was easy to meet people. Being on a sports team, especially at a Christian school filled with like-minded people, I was able to connect really well and really quickly with friends on teams, on other sports teams, through the music stuff. But I think for me, the hardest part was trying to find a church. I'm still looking, but there's definitely research available, and so just being in a new environment makes it difficult to find community outside of school, but
Awesome.
still working on it.
Love it. Emma, how about you? You're our other graduate that is living out of state. Got any tips?
I love it. I do. It's kind of, okay, so I'm going to be honest with y'all. There was this club that I went to, and it was supposed to be like URI, University of Rhode Island, and Brown, there was nobody from URI, which was really sad because I was excited but it was everybody that I've ever seen on campus. It's a very small campus. But stuff like that, don't go out on a Thursday if you don't want to go to class on Friday. But, just go out, have fun, meet people, go to the mall. It's not hard, it's not bad. You just got to put yourself out there.
Well, I think we're all dying to know, because you did mention it in your speech at graduation. Have you run into Taylor Swift?
No, but she did text me the other day, so we're gonna link up when I get back. It's whatever.
Love it. So this brings us to our next thing about, going into college. Y'all are talking about time management, because in order for you to pass, you're going to have to practice some really good study habits, right? So do you want to start us off on that? What advice do you have about what's the difference between taking classes in a high school versus a college, and how do you make sure you're successful at it?
I feel like high school it was more just memorizing and knowing facts, and college you actually have to apply what you've learned in the classroom. And so maybe after the lecture you're gonna rewatch the lecture and redo your notes, or you have to constantly be on it. You can't cram right before the exam. That's how I bombed my first 2 exams. So I ended up with a C in the class, but then stuff happened and then they curved it up. Yeah. So it's more of you have to be on yourself rather than you just go through the motions. It's more personal responsibility than high school.
Love it. I'd like to pass the mic down to Shayla so she can give us some info on that. Maybe also things like exams. Exams are different in college versus high school, right? You want to touch on that and study habits?
Yes. Okay, so in high school, you usually have a study guide. It's going to tell you everything that's going to be on the exam or on the quiz. But once you get into college, that's all on you. You don't get a study guide. You don't know what's going to be on it. It could be stuff from the beginning of the semester that you did on day 1, and you just have to know it. You can't play around. You just have to know it. You have to learn the things and apply the things and just do the things. It's also a lot different from high school. In high school, you kind of get second chances. Usually if you're not there for the quiz, they'll let you make up the quiz. But if you're not there for the quiz in college, it's kind of on you. You should have been in class or you should have turned it in. There's not really any makeups. So you just have to make sure you're on top of it. Make sure you study a lot, because even if you think that you know everything, there's probably more things that you can learn. Yeah.
I love that. I'm actually going to have you pass it to Grayson next, and then we'll go to Evan. Grayson, you were absolutely spot on. A lot of you were when you said professors, you need to realize they're humans too. And we all miss deadlines, like build a rapport for the professor and just be honest. So can you touch on that? Because that is one of the, you're going to write time management, and you better know what your professor wants, right?
Yeah.
So can you touch on that?
So you know in high school when you like run into your teacher in Kroger or something, and like you're like, oh, he's just a dude, you know? Professors in college are the exact same way. And I can tell you from personal experience, first, second, third week of college, I was mortified to email my professors. I had slept through one of my classes. I slept through my alarm. I missed one of my classes, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get kicked out. This is it. And I wrote up an email to one of my professors. I was like, I'm so sorry. I slept through my alarm. I've looked at the online thing and I've done all the online work, but I just wanted to say I'm sorry for missing the class. And within like minutes, she emailed back and she was like, yeah, it's okay. I understand. Life happens. We'll see you next week. And I was like, okay. And like all like relief washed over me. Oh no, I mean, I was perfectly fine. And I think just in that moment, I realized how these professors, most of them, are here to help you succeed in school, you know? And if you have any questions, if you miss any assignments, if you drop the ball and something is late, most you can do is ask, you know? I mean, most professors are very understanding, especially as freshmen. They understand that it's a pretty big change and a pretty big shift to college life, and they understand that there's a lot of, there's a grace period, I feel like, that you need to adjust a little bit into college. I would recommend, it's probably like the most basic college advice is to get into office hours at some point, especially if you're planning on going to a bigger school where you're going to be in lecture halls of 500, 600 kids. Go to office hours, try and make that connection with your professor one-on-one. If you can get your professor to know your name, like walk around campus and they see you and they're like, hey, Grayson, or like, hey, whatever your name is. That's how you know you've won. Because now they know you, now they're more likely to, want to have that connection with you. So yeah, it's really important to just recognize that they're people too, and that people enjoy being connected with on a deeper level.
Office hours are different for every professor, right?
Yes.
They're not in your office 5 days a week.
Yes, so professors will post their office hours in their syllabus, and it'll usually be like a couple days a week for a couple hours every day. And you can just swing by and ask about quizzes, ask about like Shayla was saying, like, you don't really know what's going to be on the quiz. You can ask your professors, like, hey, what should I study? Or just go and chat. Like, I've had times where I've gone to office hours and like me and my professor have just kind of talked, and it's been really nice.
That's really knowing your professor, what they want, and building a relationship with them. Like, do that. Absolutely do that. So thank you. Speaking of building relationships with people, Evan, can you give them some advice on how important it is to reach out to like advisors who know the ropes that you need to do, like what classes you need to take and stuff? Like, yeah, you figure a lot of it out on your own, but there are people there that they kind of already know if you just reach out to them, right?
Yeah, so for me, my advisor, he had no clue I needed help, like at all, because I didn't know how to pick what classes I wanted, just at all. So advisors are there to help you, they really are. So I had no clue what classes I was going to choose, but I had to email him, and he helped me out. Sorry, I'm blanking on this one.
No, that's good. That's good. Because what I mentioned earlier about a course plan of study is, have you already selected your major?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was that? Remind me again.
Mechanical engineering.
Okay, so has your advisor showed you the course plan study and now it's like a checkoff list. You know, within humanities, I can take one of these 3 or 4
Yes, ma'am.
classes. So, like, has that helped ease you know, I gotta take these this semester. And y'all remember that 4-year graduation plan, that little sheet I've got? I mean, it's the same thing you can do with that. You can map out, this is what I'm gonna take my freshman year. This is what I'm gonna do my sophomore, junior, and senior year. So have you done that with him, like mapped out your whole career or graduation plan as a college student?
Yes, ma'am. He actually went over that as soon as I emailed him.
Perfect. Okay. How many of you guys have visited like the career counseling center at your college? Okay. Anybody want to touch on that?
I had a few things I could say.
Yeah. Will, I think you're next up. So let's go into that.
Okay, so choosing your courses, right? So at least for KSU, and I imagine it's the same for a lot of the bigger colleges, if you have your major already in mind, they post like a flow chart online. Like you can just look it up. Like for me, it would be like electrical engineering flow chart KSU. It's a PDF. You can see all the classes that they recommend and the pathway you take. So for each semester of each year, right? And once you actually choose a major and you're in class, or you're in college, of course, you have sort of a student dashboard. We use DegreeWorks at KSU, but it shows you all of the requirements and recommended classes to fill those requirements. I only really met with my advisor like my freshman year, and you're supposed to keep meeting with them, but I think my advisors have kind of switched around. It is pretty confusing, but I've done fine. I mean, you know. Anyway, that's it.
Is it good for you to check that dashboard in your student email account like on a daily basis?
Oh, well, that's a separate thing. So DegreeWorks is specifically for like what classes you have taken and the requirements for them to get the degree, right? The other dashboard is like for the classes you're currently signed up for is called, or we use D2L for KSU, but every college in Georgia uses something different. But it can sometimes be under the same like parent company. So like D2L is under Brightspace, and I know UNG has another version of D2L that's also under Brightspace. And yeah, I mean, this is important. Like we were talking about like time management, right? You see all of your professors should be posting all of your like future assignments and the due dates on this dashboard called D2L, or you know, whatever it is for your college. And this is important. Also, like I wanted to mention the syllabus. I think I should stress that like in high school, a syllabus really didn't mean that much. It's like a terms and conditions for the class. You take it home. I mean, we got like a packet and then took it home, and like you pretend to read it and bring it back, or bring a page back signed. But like in college, it's completely different. I mean, because no two classes are exactly the same because of the professors. Your professor can make or break a class, and they all have different policies. I mean, they can look like each other and be similar, but you really should get to know the class before, you know, he starts hurling assignments at you or whatever. So in your syllabus, you're gonna find, most importantly, like the grading policy, attendance policy, whatever other policies, like if your professor is like specific on how he wants stuff to be turned in or how he wants stuff to be worked out, that'll be in there. And sometimes they'll include like a course outline, so you can see the dates, when things are due, and when your tests are. Not always, but like if you are like planning ahead and you have a calendar, you can certainly look at that and keep up to date. Back to the dashboard, like D2L, this is where your professor will reach out to you. I've never really, I mean, it's kind of hit or miss. Like I've had some professors email me announcements. Most of the time they go through D2L though, because that's what they're encouraged to do by the school. And yeah, I mean, it was kind of like my email is linked to my D2L account, but I don't always get announcements through my email if someone posts on D2L. And otherwise you have to log in on the web browser, so you don't really get notified. So like with Brightspace, like the company Brightspace, you can get Pulse, which is an app on your phone. And that's how I keep up with like my assignments coming up, because it sends you notifications like a couple days before, like you have an assignment coming up and it's due, or it'll send you notifications for announcements that a professor has made, like, hey, class is canceled, or I've moved the test, or whatever. It's a very big deal.
Can I ask you a question, Will? So, you know, in high school, we do drills, like, you know what to do if there's an intruder, if there's a lockdown, if it's a weather, all that kind of stuff. How do you know as a college student if there's something dangerous going on campus, or, you know, if school's closed because it's snowing about an inch outside? There may or may not be ice, I don't know, but we're going to go ahead and close school, right? So how as a college student, do you get notified that and stay up to date on it?
They call you. There's an automated, like you get called. There's like the robot tells you whatever's going on. Sometimes I get test phone calls. It'll be like emergency at KSU. Oh, yeah, but yeah, that's how you know.
Well, if you don't mind, we're going to pass the mic down. I'm going to come back to you for the other stuff. I'd like to pass the mic down to Emma, as long as you're okay with it. Okay, so I think most of you know there was a shooting on the campus at Brown University last month, and Emma was on campus when this happened, so I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about that, because heaven forbid any of you have to ever experience this. I'm sorry that you did, but if you can help them, then I think it's worth you sharing your story.
Okay, so the first thing I would say is wherever you go, like, kind of know where the emergency exits are, if the doors lock, if they open inside or outside, because we were like in this like classroom situation that was like right across from my dorm building, and the doors opened outside. There was nothing we could barricade with. We couldn't lock the doors, and it was like me, my roommate, her boyfriend, and then a friend of ours, and like there was nothing we could do, so we had to run outside to go to my dorm, and that was terrifying, honestly, like having to prepare yourself to get shot. I mean, that's not something anybody should have to do ever, but so just kind of know and like be okay with like manning up, I guess is kind of a bad way to say it, but like just know what to do in that situation. Be prepared to have to defend yourself or barricade yourself. Honestly, like, have you guys heard of Yik Yak or Side Chat or anything? Anyway, it's like this app that you can log into with your school email, and it's like Instagram, but only people from your school, and it's anonymous. Honestly, like, they posted about the shooting before Brown had sent any alerts. Like, we got the first alert probably 10 minutes after the first, like, the people were shot. People were already dead by the time we got alerts. So, like, honestly, stuff like that with your community where you can share and keep each other safe. People's lives were probably saved because of that app. And, like, you do get calls. So if you're in that situation, maybe block the number for a minute. I don't know. It felt kind of, like, weird that we're trying to be quiet, we're trying to be silent, and we're getting phone calls. People were mad about that. But we get texts, we get emails. But just be aware of your surroundings, know who you're with. Don't let anybody in if you're moving locations. Be vigilant if you're moving locations.
How did you know y'all were safe? How did you know that? Did they let you know that? Did you kind of just...
It was, we were on lockdown from like 4 o'clock until I think 3 in the morning. It was almost 12 hours. But when we got to my dorm, and like I'm on the top floor, like you can't get into the dorms without swipe access. Like, I feel like it's pretty safe. We were locked in my dorm. There was like 4 or 5 of us in there. And like I was still afraid, but I went to sleep. You know, I kind of, you know, there's no point in staying up and worrying about what's going on. But yeah, it was like 3 in the morning that they said that there wasn't, like they hadn't even caught him yet. And they were like, there's really no threat. He's probably long gone. What? The FBI's here. Why? I don't know. Anyway, I'm kind of upset about the whole situation. But
well, like anything in life, reflection is a key part in making things better, right? So my hope is that when y'all return in January or next week or this weekend, I hope they do reach out to y'all and say, what are some things that could have been better? Because just like you said, those phone calls, the phone's ringing, like
Yeah.
they probably didn't think about that.
It's really messed up, but it's kind of brought us really close together as a community because like they opened like one dining hall the morning after for us to eat breakfast, and it, like walking in and everybody like had bags under their eyes and their eyes were red, and it was like everybody I knew that I saw like I hugged, and it's awful, but it felt good. It felt good to know that like the people that I cared about were safe and that I got to see them.
Thank you for being brave enough to share that with us. I hope nobody ever has to experience that. I'm sorry that you did, but thank you for being brave enough to share that. I do want to kind of move in to the next thing. If you want to answer any of this before handing it to Ada. What about, I'm sorry, Farrah and Addison, speaking of dorm rooms and roommates, what's that like? Because some people, when they go to college as freshmen, they are like, they have to live on campus that freshman year. Did you have a choice in who you like sleep in the same room as? And
So
all that good stuff?
UGA requires that you live on campus as a freshman. And I don't know how many of y'all actually been to UGA's campus, but if you know where the football field's at, there's a dorm right next to that has really, really big rooms. And I really wanted in that dorm. So that meant I couldn't have a roommate because even though I had an early pick time, rooms were filling up like that. So I went random. And let me put it like this. You can go random and things can work out really, really well. Or you can go random and things don't work out well. It did not work out well. My roommate, she was nice, but she just had a lack of respect for the fact that she was living with another person. I could go on and on. She just did not work out well. And, I tried to communicate, I tried to make it work, I talked to RA, but I'm paying a lot of money to live in this building.
What's the RA?
Resident assistant advisor. It changes based on the university, but I talked to him, and I did kind of have to look at it. I'm paying a lot to live in this place, and I'm paying so much money to basically not have a room to really go to. But fortunately, one of my really good friends, she was having an even worse situation, and we were able to kind of swap some things around. So now I'm in a roommate situation that I really, really like. We're really good friends. We're in the same sorority. But yeah, basically, let me just put it like this. Don't feel like you can't speak up for yourself in that instance. You don't have to put up with a bad situation. You can get out of it, or you can stay in it and hope it gets better, which it probably won't.
I think that's a life lesson. Okay, can we pass that down to Addison?
So mine's a little bit different. Mine's a little bit more positive, I guess. Barry is a little bit different. You have to stay on campus all 4 years. So what they do, and I really like it, is they put us all in an Instagram page basically together. And it's like the class of, I'm the class of 2029. So we're all in there together, and you can post a picture of yourself and a bio of yourself. And so Barry also does all these programs where you can go ahead of time and meet people who will be in the same major as you or track, like I'm in the pre-vet track. So I got to meet people in the track with me. So that's how I actually met my roommate, was at one of the honors night things that they did. And I also reconnected with her on Instagram. And so we got assigned together and we got a room. It's not the greatest room, but it works. And so now we're best friends. So it worked out well. I do really like that you can look on Instagram beforehand and see who's similar to you, who's not, and kind of go from there. I just didn't really want to go the random route. I'm pretty picky, I feel like, about who I'd be sharing a room with. So I really like the Instagram page for it.
There's a lot to learn from those roommates, right? Yeah, go for it.
This is like super important, and it's gonna sound dumb, but I swear it's important. If you're gonna be in a major city, say Atlanta, Athens, Tuscaloosa, be looking for where you're going to live the following year in October, like right when you get there. It sounds ridiculous, but I waited too long because whole things in my sorority house went down. But I've waited till January to try to find somewhere to live next semester, and the options are really slim. And also, too, they're really, really expensive. So just keep that in mind.
Thank you, Sarah. Do you mind passing that microphone to Ada? Because she mentioned that she wants to transfer to UGA next semester, and you're at UNG this semester, right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
what does that mean to be a transfer? And like, do you have to have a certain number of hours? And what kind of led you to that decision?
Right. So when I was a senior here, I applied to a ton of different places, applied to my top school, a couple of backup options. I even applied to my dream school, Baylor, which is in Texas. I actually got into Baylor and got a really big scholarship, but it's really far away and still way too expensive, so didn't end up going that route. My top choice was UGA. I didn't get in first round, so I got deferred. And then when time came for the second decisions, I got denied. So what that meant for me, not out of the picture for me, because I told myself that I was gonna go to UNG and continue doing my classes because I had done dual enrollment and had a good bit of credit hours already. So I was gonna go to UNG and keep doing some classes, and then when time came around, I was gonna see if I could transfer and get in that way. And if I don't get in, then it's not meant to be. That's okay. And it's okay to not know what you're meant to do either. So I apply on January 22nd, and I'll find out in like March, maybe. So I still don't know what I'm gonna do next year at this time, but to get into UGA for a transfer, you have to have graduated a year prior from high school. You have to have a minimum of 30 credit hours, and they look at your GPA. It has to be above a 3.5, I think. So right now I have about 50 credit hours, so I could technically just kind of skip my junior year if I take some summer classes next year and continue on that track. But my plan, if I get into UGA, is to do their accelerated master's program. So I'll probably still be there the same amount of school time that I would be if I went 4 years and couldn't skip my junior year. But my advice to you is to know that even if your first plan, your top plan doesn't work out, don't count it out. Don't count out your dream school because it's a far reach. You might get in, you might get a scholarship. Don't count out your top option just because it doesn't work out the first time. You have ways that you can still consider that. Don't count out your backup options either. If you go, you might end up loving it. For me, I commute, so it's a little bit harder to get in touch with that community also. And for me, the big thing that I wanted to go to UGA for is their internships and their bigger like college feel. I wanted that kind of college life. So don't count out the smaller places, but if you're looking for a bigger place that you didn't get on your first try because they have certain things that will meet your needs better, don't be afraid to reach for that. It's okay to look for ways to transfer, to try different opportunities, try different internships, and see if you can make yourself work in that place. For me, my advisor was very helpful. I have heard from her that a lot of people that are going to UNG right now are planning to transfer to UGA, so that's also a big thing. I don't know how many people are transferring, so it could be a little bit more tough than normal. But she helped me plan out what classes I should take this semester and next, what I've already taken, what UGA takes for my major. I have to apply to the business school as well as apply to my regular application. And you have to have certain classes required that you take before you can apply to the business school. So different things to think about whenever you're trying to lay out your plan to transfer, but there's a lot of resources that can help you with that.
So, well, number two things. One, you are absolutely sunshine because one, you do not give up on your goals, and two, you always find the good in every situation, which that's not just college skills, those are life skills. So thank you for being so positive and chasing after what you're wanting to do. Something you and Evan have talked about is you're not alone. in college. There are resources.
Yes.
There are advisors. They know what you need to do.
Right.
You just have to reach out to them, right? So, and you mentioned the word community, so if you don't mind, I'd like to pass the mic down to Ms. Jamison, because she, you know, well, obviously, Jamison, you're phenomenal at building relationships everywhere you go, with people and with the community. You know how to get involved and show up and be there to be a part of something. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how important that's been to you as a college student at Young Harris?
Absolutely. So the first thing I want to just go ahead and say, a lot of this sounds really daunting and really negative. So let me remind you, every single college and university is completely different. For example, we have people down on the end that are out of state. We have people that are at UGA. I am at Young Harris College, where my graduating class is going to be the size of this room. Like, you have 260 people graduating with you. I have like 105 graduating with me. So my community and my experience for all 4 years has been completely different than theirs. So the key to figuring out if you belong or if you don't belong where you are, because there are times that you'll find out that this place is not for me, I need to go somewhere else, Ada, right? That's finding your community. So my biggest piece of advice is that when you go off wherever you're going, it doesn't matter if it's the Army, it doesn't matter if it's a workplace, find things that you enjoy and continue doing those things. Find a club, find a committee, join a sorority. Down there on the end, we're actually in the same one, but at different colleges. That's super cool. Figure out what suits you and what fits your needs, because when you do that, it will push you towards people that are like-minded. The whole point of having a college community is the fact that they become your family while you're not here in Jasper. Even if you are a commuter student, it's important that you find that community, because let me just tell you, when you get sick, it's not mom and dad that are going to take you to the doctor's office. It's the people that you live with or the people that you're best friends with. I cannot tell you how many times I have had one of my roommates, I live with people that are younger than me, will throw up, Mom, I threw up in the middle of the night. Like, okay, what am I supposed to do? I'm the same age as you. So it's really important that you find people that will become your family so you can move through college easier. Ways that I did that. I got involved with religious life, Greek life, and I also have several jobs on campus, as well as outside my community, the physical, like, Blairsville, Georgia community, not just Young Harris College. There are a ton of churches in that area. I found one that suited my needs, and I got really deep into their youth program, and now I help out with like a middle school girl group. So there are definitely things and ways that you can get involved in your area that will serve you and make sense for you and what you're doing. If you are going to school to be a student athlete, do not cut yourself off to other people that are not student athletes. I did not go to be a student athlete. I am what they call a NARP, non-athletic regular person. So I had to like search for a community, right? So for me, that looked like jobs, internships, clubs, communities that serve my like religious background and things like that. So please, even if you're an athlete, find other people that have other like morals that you do or other things that you enjoy as well. It's really important because, like I said, when you need somebody to lean on or fall on, mom and dad are not right there, aunt, uncle, guardian, whoever it is. It's those people that you form that relationship with, those close, deep friend connections. Your high school friends are absolutely the people. I mean, you've been together for what, 13, 14 years now? You'll always have those, but the people you meet in college are like the people that are going to be with you from then on. And the beauty of it is you don't have Pickens County to come back to with those people. You have your college town or your college community to come back to with those people. Some of my best friends are out of state. So Young Harris College is going to be where we come together in the future. Outside of people that are your age, a huge, huge piece of advice that I have for you, again, no matter where you end up, find a mentor. Find a mentor that is an adult, a staff member, a faculty member. It could be somebody that works in the dining hall, the library, it doesn't matter. Find an adult that you can trust that experiences the same community you experience on a regular basis. Mom, dad, aunt, uncle, they're great, but they are not experiencing the kind of community you are experiencing in real time then and there. So for example, my mentor that I have is a history professor that I had when I was a freshman, and she grew up in that area, so I learn a lot from her. And when you're in your early 20s and you're experiencing your work, your college, whatever, it's important that you have someone there that can guide you, that can not just hear you, but understand you. Hear me when I say, it is very important and critical that in this time of your life, you are understood, not just heard. So having somebody in my life that I can go to and be like, hey, as a freshman, where is the Ingalls? She can be like, oh, it's here, there, and everywhere. I mean, yes, we have like maps and things like that, but it's other bigger things than just, I need to know my area. Find a mentor, keep up with them. It doesn't have to be somebody on your campus if college is your thing. Find somebody in a church, find somebody that works in the career field that you're looking to go into, someone that has an internship that you are looking forward to having, an upperclassman even. Like if you're gonna go be an athlete, make friends with a senior so they can prepare you for what's coming next. Does that make sense? Give me a nod. Yes? Anybody? Okay.
I'll give you an amen.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jameson. If you don't mind, let's hand the mic over to Bill. We are getting very close to being out of time. Okay? So what I would like, y'all stay with me, we're almost there. What I would love is for all of you, those last two questions, I want you to think of an answer for each of those that you can say within 20 seconds while we'll answer this next question, which is, the point of going to college, it's not just to study and learn and all of that. You also have to do internships and practicums and get experience, because I will tell you as an anthropology major, I didn't go and do internships and this and that. I studied. I knew I'd have to go get my master's degree, so long story short, if you want to get a good paying job after you graduate college, you're going to need to have internships and practicums where you have real life experience and skills that you started to obtain, which is what Will is going to talk about for Mrs. Bailey.
Yeah. So a degree can get you hired, but relevant experience that you can talk about on top of a degree will absolutely get you hired. And that's where internships and co-ops come into play. So at KSU, and I'm pretty sure this is the same for most bigger colleges in Georgia, but you'll have like one big job fair every semester, and it'll be major specific. So you'll have like an engineering day where all of the employers will come out, set up a booth, and you go talk to them. So that's where you get, you can apply, setting up like a Handshake account and like a LinkedIn account will also get you in touch with these employers, and that's a big thing as well. But I wanted to first talk about like what an internship was. So an internship is basically you're being paid to learn well, sometimes they're unpaid, but most of what I've seen is paid. So this typically is over like a summer semester. You get hired with a job and you work just for the summer, and they'll give you whatever work they decide. And then there's a co-op, which is you agree, I think it's a minimum of 3 semesters, but you're alternating between working full-time and going to school, and those are always paid. So I guess one of the biggest struggles I had was like, okay, well, if you're like me, the first time like you're building a resume was really for applying to colleges, and it's going to be filled with a lot of your academic accomplishments as well as maybe extracurriculars in high school. That isn't really relevant to like employers once you're like at this job fair, right? So like my freshman and sophomore year, before I had hands-on experience, I was kind of struggling what to put on there. So definitely like learn to talk about yourself, right? And I've learned like to not be so nitpicky about it, kind of like if you can talk about it, you know what I mean? Like, but also I would recommend like research groups and extracurriculars for sure. Because often you don't really need a big resume to get in, and it just takes a quick search like for your school, like KSU research groups and KSU extracurriculars, for you to find something that you can talk about, right? And yeah, I mean, like I said at the beginning, a degree alone cannot give you everything you need. You need to constantly be looking to like building a portfolio and looking around you of like, what did I learn from that? What did I take from that? Treat college as more than just a set of grades, right? It's an experience. And I say the same for internships. Apply, like make it fun. Be like, I want to try this, right? I'm going to apply to this internship because I want to try this out. And that leads into the actually answering the question, which is like, not only does it help you build a portfolio and make you competitive to employers, but trying out different experiences and extracurriculars, research groups, internships and co-ops, it teaches you what you want and what you don't want in a career, because the career is often very, very different from what you experience in your curriculum in college, right? So like I had an internship last summer in manufacturing. I'm going to have an internship this summer in more of a design role. I've learned so far that I don't really like desk jobs. A lot of engineering can be a pure desk job. You're at a computer all day, you're running simulations, or you're writing code or whatever. I want more like a hands-on troubleshooting kind of thing, but I wouldn't have known that unless I got out into the workforce and tried it. So.
I love that. Thank you. All right, we can pass that microphone back to Farrah. We're just going to go through very quickly, y'all. What is one thing you didn't know that you had to learn on your own since graduating high school? You didn't know it as a senior. You just had to learn it. Try to keep it to about 10 seconds, okay? And if you do have one suggestion on something for them to do this last semester before they graduate, you can squeeze that in too, okay?
Something that I wish I had learned sooner was that you don't get to choose how people think about you. People are going to have good opinions about you. People are going to have bad opinions about you. You can't control that, but you can control how that does affect you. And you can identify those people in your life that aren't supporting you to be your best person. And something that I realized in college is I am able to now make a circle of people around me that love me and support me and want the best for me. And that's just not something I got to have in high school. So I guess my sole little gist of this is to surround yourself with people that will make you the best version of yourself, if that makes sense.
FOMO is real. FOMO is dangerous. Don't not do something because you're nervous that people will look at you, because you'll regret it. And that's now and later.
I would want to remind all of you that your work ethic is very important. However hard you work is the outcome you're going to get, and you need to remember that, because if you work hard, it will pay off eventually. And I mean, as we said earlier, graduation is 135 days away. This is your last long period of time with all of these people, and I would remind you to pick your people wisely. Don't spend time with people who tear you down. Spend time with people who are going to build you up and people you're going to miss.
I would say remember that your grades aren't everything. Focus on things that you like and find community and people that can support you, like she said. I had an experience. I feel like I was very proud of how I did here as a student, and then my first semester of college, I had a really rough professor that I really thought was going to be the end of it all. Ended up doing really okay in that class, but remind yourself that it's going to be different and it might not go as you planned it, but don't sell yourself short and just get through it, because there will be better.
I would say don't sweat the little things, especially in high school. I feel like I stressed too much about the stuff that didn't matter, and I didn't give myself enough time to like hang out with my friends and stuff. And now in college, I really don't have time, and I'm regretting not spending that time with all my friends whenever I did have the time in high school.
Life is hard, school's hard, work's hard, going into the military, it's all hard, but it gets better. And life is also fun, so have fun, do things you enjoy, and know that you're not the only one that thinks that things are hard.
Most colleges have free mental health counseling. Use it. It's included in your tuition. Use it. To be successful, you need to have a correct mental state. And don't wait until you're in a really bad position to reach out, because I promise you, you will not. I'm so proud of you guys for graduating. Thanks so much for being here. Congratulations.
I would have to say time management. I mean, I procrastinated so much and I didn't get any of the classes I wanted. And now I have to take Calc 1 at 8 in the morning. So, just use your time well.
I'd say things can be pretty mundane and boring after you graduate, so you just want to take all the opportunities you can to have fun, like go out with your friends or go out and do something by yourself.
One thing that I would really stress about is if you don't feel like you really have a plan at the moment for long-term stuff, whether it be like, oh hey, what am I gonna do 5 to 10 years from now? That's fine. One thing that I would really put some focus on regarding that though is be just as open to opportunities that come towards you. If I hadn't taken advantage of the fact that my recruiter came in last year at the time that he did, I probably wouldn't be where I am right now and would not be going where I am in a month or so. And I'm personally looking really forward to it. Just be open towards opportunities that come towards you, and it's okay not to have a plan.
I would say, okay, so ask anyone that you look up to about like the time that they grew the most in life, and never are they going to tell you that it was like they were on vacation or whatever. Challenge is fundamental to our growth, and college is hard, life is hard, but wherever you go, try to find a lesson in the challenge and accept change and accept challenge and keep going.
I don't know if I can beat that. But best thing I have for advice is focus on your mental health. Please take care of your mental health in whatever you do, whether that's college, whatever job, because you got to take care of yourself mentally and physically. And at this point, you're almost ready to graduate, so I would highly recommend taking the time to make memories with your friends and everything, because you don't know how many memories you'll have left together before you either go off to college or the workforce. So enjoy it while you have the time, because life gets a little bit more hectic once you kind of graduate from high school. So
the last thing I'm going to leave you with, don't let imposter syndrome take away from what you want to do. At some point, it's going to get hard and you're going to try to convince yourself that you don't belong where you ended up. Ignore imposter syndrome and go for it anyways. And as a senior, say yes to things. Even if it doesn't feel like it's, oh, that's not me. I don't care. Say yes.
Thank you. Can y'all give them a round of applause?